Hey everybody. I just wanted to walk through a couple of Delver Mirrors I played this weekend that I thought were kind of interesting. Just talk through my lines. I did rewatch the replays. I definitely don't think all my plays were super great, but I still wanted just to talk through these games and see if anybody disagrees or agrees with the lines. So let's see. This was, and this was I think this was during the format playoff. So I see the 7. I'm on the draw. This is game 2. And I'm very happy with this hand. So yeah, keep. So volcanic pass. So let's see what I draw for turn. Volcanic. So that was pretty lucky draw because obviously my hand's pretty mana hungry. But also I knew he's like friends with Andrew Beckstrom. I don't know if they work in the same company or something, but I always see him in like Matt Nass's stream, so I thought it's likely that I thought it's likely that he has Stifle because Andrews has top hated the event with Stifle, the Star City Open. Though it's possible Andrew said he didn't like it, but also that event, all the top 8 lists had Stifle. Noah Walker, like one of the best Delver players, Daryl Ayers, a really good Delver player also, and then Andrew Beckstrom. They all had Stifle, so I thought it was pretty likely they had Stifle, though I guess it's not that relevant here. So here I just decided to play Delver because you could say, oh, they're leaving up Bolt or Red Blast, but they're also leaving up Stifle. I just want to get this down. You're like, oh, they could have Ren and 6, but I felt that was fine because the upside's like super high of the Delver, plus it punishes them for leaving up mana for Stifle. Well, I guess I should talk a bit more because they could have Ren and 6, but if they have Ren and 6, I still got to play Tarmogoyf as a follow-up, and they could daze it. Well, I guess it's kind of a complicated discussion. So sometimes you have to look at your hands and you have to think, how much can I afford to play around Ren and 6 or play into Ren and 6? This hand was kind of clunky. Like, if they daze this, then they're not dazing my Oko. And, but mostly I felt they had Stifle, so I just wanted to pressure them for holding up their mana. And, yeah, I didn't because I'm trying to think of a way to phrase it. I had to play around Ren and 6. It's like pretty hard because imagine if you play this game a million times. Is playing turn 1 Delver actually going to get you the highest win rate? Maybe you try and Wasteland, but that's pretty bad against Stifle. So I just felt like I kind of wanted to use my mana. And if they had Bolter Reb, it's fine. And if they had Ren and 6, like I felt like it was just pretty important, mostly because I felt like they had Stifle. Though maybe I played around it a bit too much. Okay, so here I draw Blue Blast for turn. I reveal it, and they don't bolt my Delver. In response, they don't, Red Blast anything. So that would imply that they either have 2 removal spells and they don't care, or they don't, or maybe they have Submerge. So here's a pretty interesting choice. First, I start by just attacking, see if they do anything. Maybe I can play a land first in case they have Daze plus Bolt, so that way I can play around Daze. But I end up attacking, and then, so I feel like they left up a mana again, and they didn't Bolt, so I felt like pretty likely that they Stifle, and maybe I'm playing around Stifle a bit too much, but I just felt like I could play a land and pass here, and then if they play and I have the Red Blast up, and this way I can also play Tarmogoyf if they have a Spell Snare. That's another card they could have if they don't have Stifle, or they could have Daze, but sure, Daze would always be good. But things that, if I don't spend my mana, maybe their hands just kind of cantrips, and I don't know, I'm trying to, the stuff that punishes me for playing Goyf, maybe they start Wastelanding me, it's kind of tricky to play around Daze in the way that they can Wasteland you, so you want to sometimes just play your cards when you have the spells in hand. But I just felt like they didn't do anything, so I wanted to just pass, and then I felt like I wasn't that scared if they played Tarmogoyf because I'd Submerge. Here, I kind of wish. Okay, I'll also talk about the use of Wasteland here because maybe I could have used it. Basically, I didn't use it because in my head, it could be wrong, I don't have Daze, and they could have Daze, right? They also didn't play any spells yet, so I felt it's pretty likely that they have a lot of lands in their hand. Also, I have Oko and I have Goyf, basically, and it helps me play around Daze. It makes their Daze dead if I have this in play. But obviously, I could try and deprive them of mana. But also, they can Stifle it, but I could try and get a counter war or something. But I could have also played Delta and Pass. This way, I could potentially use both my blasts. I'm not. It's pretty hard choice, but I mean, I guess I probably should be talking about it since that's the whole point of this video. Like, if I was playing this right now, what would I do? And, like, basically the reason to do this is because, like, let's say they play, like, Ponder, and then I Red Blast it, and then they daze me. If I fetch, they could Stifle it. I just basically felt like they had Stifle, and I just wanted them to not be able to effectively use it, just to waste their mana and then finally fetch. But I might be playing around it too much. It's pretty hard to know. That's why I'm sharing this to see what people think. Okay, so they wasteland me. I don't float mana because they can just switch face. I mean, they could have like Bowman Courier or something, or Goblin Guide, but I didn't want to really waste time. I was already playing pretty slow, as you can see from the clock difference. Okay, so they have Wasteland, so that's definitely one of the cards that can punish me for not using my mana. And then they play Goyf. So I thought that's okay. I have this. So I have the Submerge, I mean. And I'm a bit ahead in the race right now. I mean, obviously it's a good play for them, but I'm not just going to die. So here, it's getting pretty interesting. Because basically, I feel like there's a pretty good chance they have Submerge, but basically I didn't play around it that much because in the Andrew Beckstrom list, they only played one Submerge. In my list, I'm playing 3 Submerges. I think Submerge is like super good in the mirrors, but they only had one, so I didn't feel like I could read into it that much. I kind of felt they're likely to have it because they weren't really playing that many spells, and so yeah. And here, so basically I have the choice. I can play Goyf, and then they could daze it. I could play Delver. I could like hold up a blast, but I think that's pretty bad. But basically, also, if I play around Submerge, I can't fetch Tropical, and all these sorcery creatures are this. I ended up playing Goyf here because I'm still thinking if I would do the same play again. I just felt like I didn't want to play around Submerge too much, and I felt like it's a pretty clunky threat to get down. Like, if they Wasteland me again, it might be hard to cast. I felt if they daze it, it's pretty hard to know what's right. Like, I haven't gotten any read that they aren't playing daze. Maybe I should play Delver, especially they haven't bolted it. Like, looking back, I think I would play Delver, honestly, because they show that they probably don't have a bolt yet. And that way I can really get the clock on, and since they haven't played a bolt, like the way they've played, they haven't played that many spells, so they could have daze pretty easily. So then they could just daze my Tarmogoyf. Then the question is, do I want to get Trop or Volcanic? In the blind, I think I would get Volcanic, even though these spells are green, just because Submerge is a great card that could get them back into the game. But basically I thought they're only playing one Submerge, so I guess I kind of disrespected it a bit. But I ended up playing Tarmogoyf, because I basically thought it would be really hard to ever cast it again, and I don't know. That was sort of what my thinking was. They Submerge it, they play a Brainstorm. We draw Goyf. They got a swing. They let that happen. Yeah, so I might be playing around days, because you see I'm not using my Wasteland. Okay, so here I go to Submerge. They Pyroblast it, but... And then the game is basically over at this point, because they don't have removal for my Delvers, and they just basically scoop, because I'm going to end up drawing a Submerge, I put a creature on top, and they scoop, basically. I don't know if this explanation was that good, because I'm still unsure about a lot of these things, but I was just trying to go sort of through my thought process. And also, generally, I just want to invest in my creatures more. Maybe it's from playing too much limited, but these cards have instant effects, and these cards you need to invest in, and they get value from attacking. Obviously, it can be more complex than that, because you want to ensure that your creatures are alive, so you kind of want to hold up your counters some games. But that was sort of why I wasn't thinking about it that much. And here was another game I played. Okay. So here, okay, Mulligan. I just want to talk about the one. Okay. So here you can see I have 19 minutes, so I'm going to spend a bit of time thinking about this. And this is the hand, right? I'm playing a Delvermere again, Rug Delvermere. I don't remember if they used Stifle against me. I could watch the replays. This was like, I think this was during the Mox event, which I spent a lot of time because I really cared about that because I'm trying to be on the leaderboard. I think my position's not that good. I'm like number 20, but like if I 8-0, then I could skyrocket up to like 10 or something. So I was trying like, I always try and win, but I was trying like harder than reasonable to do well in this Legacy Mox event. Like probably too hard. Like I was getting headaches and stuff. But so this is the 7, and it's kind of interesting what to bottom here. And I think it's between the Spell Pierce, Renin 6, and maybe Brainstorm, though I don't want to say that. Like probably I should always. I think it's like between these two and maybe Brainstorm a third. And I thought, like, okay, I don't have really that many fetch lands right now to get with Ren and 6. I don't have a Wasteland. I don't have a Daze to protect it. I'm on the draw, so it can be kind of slow. I thought, okay, maybe Spell Pierce can be a bit better, but I don't know. Like, it was kind of a loose... it was kind of a tough decision. I didn't really know what I was supposed to do. Okay, I draw Waterlog Grave, and here, this might be wrong. So basically, I felt if I play Delver right now, there's a very good chance I just lose to Ren and 6, right? But then the question is, can I beat Ren and 6? And, like, this is the problem with playing around cards in the Delver here. Like, when you don't play into cards, when you play around one card, like Ren and 6, you play into all these other cards, right? So, like, I would say the main punishment is, let's say my opponent plays Delver and Wasteland. Then my play just looks dumb. I thought, okay, number one, I have a lot of lands. I don't really mind if they Wasteland me, right? That much. I mean, maybe I do in a way, but I was like, that's fine. I have a lot of tropical sort of islands to work with. I don't really mind. I thought, okay, if they play Tarmogoyf, I have Submerge. So it's not like a disaster if they play Tarmogoyf. Obviously, it's not good, so maybe I should play the Delver just to invest in that threat. But I thought if they play Ponder, they might be short on lands too. They might really be relying on a Ponder. That's actually pretty common, or like a Brainstorm. But also I thought, I'm like, this hand's pretty good. I feel like I'm on the draw. I feel like I can outlast their wave. I'll have a bit of extra cards. And I felt like I can just beat a Ren and 6. I don't need to play into it. But at the same time, let's say turn 2, I play a Delve, but it might be wrong, because let's say I play a Delver and then I try and Spell Pierce Ren and 6. Now they can have Daze up. Now they can have all this stuff up. But in the moment, I was just thinking, oh, I think I can beat Ren and 6, but it might be wrong. So they play Wasteland. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And they play Delver. That's the max punishment right there. So I decided not to Submerge. Maybe I should have. It's kind of an interesting choice. And now I play Delver. I feel I'm kind of behind. I need to catch up on the battlefield. So they don't flip, luckily for me. And luckily for me, they also attack. I mean, I technically could have Submerged at some point. That's also a good question to ask. And then they play Goyf. So I play Brainstorm. Oh, what did I put? And I put back a Waterlog Grove. Sorry, let me see. That went a bit fast. So yeah, they play Goyf. So far it's been pretty bad for me. They just played 3 creatures in a Wasteland. And yeah. Okay, so I draw a fetch land. And here I was thinking basically, oh, I want to draw yeah, I think I was like, oh, I just want to Brainstorm to try and draw like a lightning bolt. I mean, maybe it was bad to Brainstorm here, but I didn't want them to Spell Pierce my Brainstorm, so actually, yeah. And I didn't want them to Stifle if they have Stifle, so that's why I just Brainstorm main phase. Even though it would be interesting whether I actually want to cast Delver or something like that. So let me see. So I play the land, I Brainstorm, and I draw Brainstorm. So I put Grove in Tropical just because I wanted to keep the fetch with my Brainstorm, and I felt like all the spells were good. So I submerged that. That's kind of interesting, I guess. I was hoping that they would be out of lands and I could Daze it. And also, that way their Delver can't flip. It's kind of interesting. I'm not 100% sure. So it doesn't flip. But I'm not 100% sure that was the right use of Submerge. Because I could also just wait in case I draw a Spell Snare, or in case like I Wasteland their Tropical, and, you know, and that kind of stuff. And also in case they fetch, so I can do it in response. So they do nothing. I decided not to Brainstorm because I felt my hand's kind of bad. And I mean, it's an interesting decision whether to Brainstorm or not, but I felt I had time because I felt I had a bunch of Submerges in my deck. I had Goyfs. Like, they only have 2 threats right now. My life total is kind of high. I felt I could wait on it, see what they do, let my draws develop a bit more. That's just what I was thinking. So I draw Ren and 6, and I think, okay, it's a pretty good chance, time to use it. Just kill the Delver, and, you know, do it like that before it flips, and the Ren and 6 is bad. So I pass to them. They swing at my Ren and 6. And then they play their own Ren and 6. So, yeah, it's just Spell Pierce it. Pretty easy choice, obviously. They play a land, so I was pretty lucky here, because I might have just been screwed if they played their land and I couldn't Spell Pierce it. So I might have played this game wrong. So here's a pretty interesting choice. They draw Pyroblast, but they just cast a Ponder, and they chose not to shuffle. So basically I felt like the Daze wasn't really doing that much good, and I really wanted to have creatures to put into play because my life total is getting really low. It could be wrong to cast Brainstorm now, but they can also have like Wastelands, and also like what if they play, yeah, like I was just Brainstorm now because if they play Wasteland, they start attacking my mana. If they play Ren and 6, I want to be able to pressure the walkers. So yeah, here I draw Ren and 6 and Tarmogoyf. So I put that on top, the Ren and 6 on top, and I play Tarmogoyf, and I pass. Because I don't have any Wastelands in my area. So they play another Goyf, and they attack. So basically here, I decide to shuffle the Ren and 6, because it's not really going to be doing much good, because I could attack, but then they double block, and then I kill it, but then I basically 2-for-1 myself, because then they just attack the Ren and 6, and I lose my Goyf, and they have one Goyf. I felt I basically just wanted to draw creatures. I have True Name. I shouldn't have been playing True Name, but I didn't think that much about my list, so I just had True Names in my deck, and I had, like, I basically just wanted to draw, like, Tarmogoyfs, or maybe Submerge. They had a fetch land, so I felt they were probably going to fetch with the Ponder. Well, they might not, they will, but there's a chance they would. Obviously, maybe not, because they would want to play around Submerge, so maybe they would fetch first. And also, they don't need to find a land at this point. It's not essential. So, they could also just keep the Goyf on top. But I basically felt I needed to draw a Goyf or a True Name or a Delver, because I'm pretty far ahead. Like, basically, they're attacking me for 10, and I needed to do something about that. Okay, draw Ponder. Excellent draw. And really lucky Ponder here. This is just absurd Ponder here, like, very good. So I decide, okay, I feel like they're going to fetch. Maybe this was wrong, but I felt like, okay, I feel like they're going to fetch. Maybe I should have played the Delver here, honestly, just to get the damage in. Also, it can let me double block. But at the time, I just had a very strong feeling like they're going to fetch. And so I took the Submerge. But it was kind of a tough choice. Because, like, let's say they're not going to fetch. Drawing the Submerge doesn't really do anything. They swing for 5. Now I don't play my Delver, and I'm not going to cast my Submerge. So I think I probably should have taken the Delver. I just had, like, this strong Spider Sense. Like, also I played, like, 2 games against them. This was game 3, I think. So maybe I was recognizing the way they played. Like, I felt like they're going to fetch end of turn. And if they do... But also the thing is, they can also just not get a land. Like, I don't have ways to disrupt their mana. They can just play the Tarmogoyf. So they can just whiff on the fetch. It keeps whatever card they wanted to shuffle away on top, but they just draw the Goyf, and I'm behind. But anyway, so that might have been kind of some loose plays there. I'm not sure. Then they fetch. Okay, Submerge. So, and I was like, I remember I was praying because I really wanted to win, to do well in this event for the points. And I was like praying that they would shuffle because maybe they had like it was just bad cards. So I played Delver, and now I'm kind of ahead, right? So here they attack, and I was basically thinking if they have Ren and 6, then they could just kill my Delver, and I'm right behind on the damage race. And so I just blocked. Especially they could draw stuff like another Tarmogoyf or a True Name or whatever. So yeah, that's what happens. And I reveal the Ponder that I put on top, and I Ponder now, and I see Tarmogoyf and that. So I just take Tarmogoyf because I think it's like way better than my random cards, and it just stabilizes the ground. Otherwise, I'm just taking 5 damage a turn. They cast a Ponder, sure. They don't attack. I play I swing. They go to 11, so I'm feeling pretty good. And I decide to fetch on their upkeep because I don't want the top card. They brainstorm, and they play a red Elemental Blast. Okay, now here's an interesting choice. So they're at 11 life, so I draw Ren and 6. And so I'm like 100% sure they don't have Bolt. Like, it seems pretty obvious they just drew Red Blast and cast it. Maybe like 99.9% sure in case maybe they were like wanted to take damage from Delver for some reason. Like they didn't, I don't know. But also like, I think you'd rather most of the time. I would say like 99.9% sure they don't have Bolt just because they took a bunch of damage off Delvers. So basically here I have a few options. Number 1, I can play Ren and 6 and start plussing it. Right? I don't have any Wastelands, but I have some fetch lands, and it can get to the ultimate slowly. Right? But what punishes me if I just do that? Well, let's say they draw a Submerge for my Tarmogoyf. They put my Tarmogoyf on top. They get a swing at my Ren and 6. My Ren and 6, and then my Ren and 6 is dead, and we're basically at the same state again. So I was like, okay, that's not a bad outcome. Then they use a Submerge to trade with my Ren and 6 and my top card. But I was like thinking, can I put myself ahead here? I thought, okay, let's say my opponent has nothing in hand, and they brick for a turn. So what I could do is I can swing for 10, right? Also, I didn't cast any bolts yet, and I have 2 bolts in my deck. I have 36 cards in my deck, and bolt could be one of my weaker draws here, and I kind of have the first, so maybe I can get a life total advantage. So I can swing with both of these Tarmogoyfs, and they could block one of each, and then I can just ping their Goyf, and then that's great for me. Or I could swing with both. They'll probably double block, and then I'll do 5, so they go to 6 life total, and I can ping their Goyf, and then basically I'm super far ahead if they don't have anything, because then they can't. If they attack my Ren and 6, I can attack them down to 1 life. That means I can bolt them. I can Ren and 6 them. They can't crack their Delta. They're just dead super quick. And if they do nothing, I just gotta untap. So basically, that was my. If I attack with both of them, I can put myself pretty far ahead. They could have Stifle maybe. I don't think I saw Stifle. That's something to consider. Also, I don't think they had Stifle because I just cracked a fetch on my upkeep and they didn't Stifle it. Though, you can watch this replay. Like, maybe I should watch this replay just to see if there's any way to last card in hand. Like, let's see what they cast. Like I basically felt like here, like, let me see. Just to see if they ever could have had a chance at Stifle. Because they would have Stifled this fetch, then they do nothing. Then they cast the Goyf. So I felt like they don't have Stifle in hand, right? And let's see if another card they could have is Blue Blast, right? But let's see. This is their last card in hand, right? If they have Blue Blast, they might maybe they won't, but they might Blue Blast my Power Blast. So it's a pretty good chance they don't have Blue Blast, right? And then the other card they could have is Spell Snare. But look, I just played a Tarmogoyf and they didn't Spell Snare it. So I don't think they have Spell Snare. I don't think they have Stifle. I don't think they have Blue Blast, okay? So what could they have that could punish me? And I don't think they have Bolt. So that's why I do this. And the reason, like, let's say I don't play Ren and 6. I just plus. Let's say they play a third Tarmogoyf or a True Name or True Name Tarmogoyf Mandrills. Now I'm behind. So basically, I felt this was a good way to get myself ahead. And then I even drew Oko, and they said GG. Well, I didn't have to cast Oko. Let me see. And yeah, that was just how I played some Delver Mirrors. Lots of tough choices. I don't know if they're right or wrong. But just to get some discussion, maybe people want to discuss it. And yeah, there it is. Thanks.